compañeras y compañeros, this has been really an awesome conference. And I think it has been qualitatively different. We're not just theoreticians, we're not just intellectuals, we're not just academics. And you can feel it, you can sense it, the struggle. The comrades and the Boston bus drivers that are here, they are bringing the struggle. That's what this party is all about, is the struggle. I'm so proud also of our comrades, of young comrades. Comrade Eva, is she around here? She said before, Berta, we're going to be the next leadership. I said, no, Eva, you're not the next leadership. You're the leadership right now. I mean, all seniors, we're not going to retire either. We're going to be here like Fidel is, you know? We're here, and we are all, because we need more leaders, not less. And I'm so glad that our comrades from Cuba spend the whole morning. I mean, these are compañeros that her time is really demanded, and that they spend the whole morning with us and gave that great message. I think that is very significant, and it speaks volume to the work of the party. And I just wanted to recognize somebody who came from Philadelphia, because she's not going to be here tomorrow. So talking about youth who are in movement, who are in the leadership of struggle everywhere, I want to recognize Catherine Mejia, and she's from People Utilizing Real Power. It's a student group in North Philly, who have been organizing against racism and police brutality. And it's unfortunate because she has great stories that she can hear. But my talk, it's just 3 points that I want to bring, actually 2 points of 3 countries. And there is a lot happening in Latin America. We can talk, and there are things that are terrible that are happening, for example, in the Dominican Republic, and we have to be aware of that, how the Dominicans who are from Haitian descent, their citizenship has been taken up. And this is a new constitution. This is a fascist part of the government who did this. This is terrible. This has to be opposed, and we have to join our sisters and brothers from the Dominican Republic and from Haiti who oppose this, because that has to be opposed. So there are things that are happening and there are things that are happening that are really great, like peace negotiations in Cuba of the Colombia and the government. But there is so much that is happening because the Revolutionary Center is like, you know, there is a lot of anti-imperialist sentiment and struggle and governments in Latin America. But what to endorse, what to do, you know, we cannot have 10 demonstrations one day for difference. So that's what I wanted to focus, you know, what are the key things, what are the key countries that we have to not lose sight, because they hold the key of the whole region, and not only the whole region, including us here. So much is happening in Latin America, and as I said, we, as revolutionaries, we must know well. And not only because it's close to us, you know, to the US, but millions of people of Latin America live right here. I'm from Puerto Rico. There are more Puerto Ricans living in the United States than there are living in Puerto Rico. You know? And there are so many millions of Latin American, Central American, Caribbean people living here that is by necessity, it changes the struggle here. And we saw it in 2006. And we saw it, we're seeing right here in front, on my left, always on the left, the compañeras and compañeras from Boston. You know, many are immigrants or family of immigrants. But, and I think this goes with the sentiment of the whole conference, that the struggle has to be global. Because the attacks on our class is global, we by necessity have to be in sync with each other, not only here, but abroad. And Latin America is important because for several years now, it has been a revolutionary center. It has been an anti-imperialist revolutionary center. Not every country, of course, but in its needs, it lays the core of a very mighty wave that is trying to challenge the US domination in the area. So I wanted to concentrate in 3 countries, and that is Cuba, Venezuela, and Colombia. And why? Well, right now, they hold the key for the liberation, as I mentioned before, of the region to US imperialism. And that is that the most significant feature challenging the notion that Latin America is the United States' backyard, that they want to be sovereign nation. They are working for that. Let's take Cuba, the Cuban Revolution. And the Cuban Revolution is so dear to our party. You know, we were born the same year, 1959. So that makes us sisters. The Cuban Revolution and the party, Workers' World Party, are sisters, right? But of course, both the revolution and the party started developing long before 1959. But now that we have established our parentesco, our relation and family relation, let's go to the role, to the significance of Cuba. And we know a lot about Cuba, so I'm not going to many details, but for decades, Cuba stood alone in the international forum, and particularly in the Latin America, in this hemisphere. No other Latin American countries stood by its side, except probably Mexico to some extent, just to some extent, but not directly challenging the US. But there is it's a lot to talk about the Cuban Revolution, a country that tries to build socialism just 90 miles from the United States, a small country that has contributed so much to humanity without ever asking for anything in return. In liberation struggles, in healthcare, in education, in disaster relief, you can go on and on. A revolution that has inspired not only people in Latin America, but everywhere else. But what, and I think that's important, what have we learned from the revolution and its leader? Above all, of course, Fidel. As we show solidarity and support, we must as well learn from their experiences. Because we need to conduct a revolution here. So we have to get the experiences, the lessons of all the revolutions. And this is a living process of our time that has a wealth of lessons, Cuba's revolution. Some of them, just some of them, are the consistency, the willingness to see and correct mistakes, not giving up ever, even in the worst phase of enormous challenges. A continuous revolution, 2 minutes. Wow, okay. It has been a continuous revolution, not thinking that it's already completed. It's an ongoing revolution. They never say we are already a socialist country and that's it. No, we are continuously building socialism. So I have to cut. One example is the struggle to get Elian. They were so consistent and determined to get Elian back, and they got back Elian. And that is what they are doing with our 5 brothers. One of them, Rene, is already in Cuba. But they are so tight, they say it's the Cuba 5. It's the Cuba 5. And they will need, and we have to join on that, because only public opinion from the United States will liberate the Free the 5, regardless of the illegal and all that. So we have to lift the blockade and free the Cuban 5. Now let's go to Venezuela. After 1999, when President Chavez took office, Cuba ceased to be alone. There were now 2 voices against imperialism. The dynamism and generosity that enveloped the treaties and associations of the 2 countries embodied in the figures of Fidel and Chavez, it was unique. The constant and revolutionary ideas that were generated and immediately put into practice changed forever the panorama of the region. It was like a magnet, attracting all the countries and the different people's movement to that anti-imperialist orbit. And then came the creation of ALBA, CELAC, NASUR, and so on, that were for the benefit of the people, and without the presence of the United States for the first time. Of course, this increased the campaign of U.S. against Cuba and against Chavez. But Venezuela became the center of progressive meetings and gatherings. See, time is up, okay. I thought I had 10 minutes, so that's why. I've taken 10 minutes. Oh my God, time really flies. I think, but just to, I'll wrap up saying, I'll leave the other. But on Colombia, there is something very important, and that, I'm sorry, but I have to take a minute to talk about what is happening in Colombia, because that is essential. There are two things. There's the most important thing now that is happening, and it's happening in Cuba, is the negotiations between the government in Colombia and the FARC, which is the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. That has to be, we have to accompany actively that negotiation. We have to figure out how to do it, but they cannot do it alone, because Colombia is what, as opposed to Cuba and Venezuela, the government of Colombia is an ally of the United States. That's where not military bases, that's where the paramilitary scale, that's where the transnational of the United States are stealing the land of the indigenous and the Afro-Colombians and the campesinos, and that's why they have all these military and the Plan Colombia to get rid of the movement of people in Colombia. So the peace negotiation is very important, and the peace negotiations are being produced because there is also a non-armed social movement, Marcha Patriótica, Congreso de Todos los Pueblos, that are mobilizing for the first time. These are Afro-Colombians, indigenous and campesinos that are joining together. And this is not the armed movement, these are the social movement. So this is very important for us to help and support actively the movement in Colombia. So I'm going to finish, I just have to finish with some. Viva la Revolución Cubana, viva la Revolución Bolivariana de Venezuela, viva la lucha de los pueblos, socialismo ahora, and build workers' world.